Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. In today's video I'm going to be continuing on from where we left off yesterday with my own personal wish list for update 1.31, and I'm going to be bringing you your guys' personal wish list. So I asked you guys on my Discord, in the community section of the channel and on yesterday's video, to put forward your suggestions and I would pick out the top rated and best comments. So this series has been around the channel for at least 6 to 7 months at this point, and it's been a very good way of kind of stirring up a topic within the community to just see what everybody wants as a whole and kind of where we want the game to go. It's kind of in hope that Polyphony do eventually listen and that we can finally get this game exactly where it needs to be. Like I said yesterday, I feel like the game is in a very, very good spot at the minute, where all the kind of features that were, put in post-release, such as VR and the selling cars and such, are all in there, and now it really needs to be all about events and kind of, making the game a lot bigger and better than it really is, because at times it really does feel quite bare bones, especially for a numbered GT title. So one thing I'm actually going to exclude from this wish list is specific cars. The reason for that is because at the end of the day, it all comes down to car licensing. It's a whole different topic for a whole different video, where I will be kind of putting forward your guys' suggestions for cars you'd like to see come in the future. I think we all know about the leaked car list at this point. A lot of those have kind of come into the game, so there is a lot of cars that are possibly coming, some that may not. There's a lot of Lotuses on that elite car list, and obviously I believe that Polyphony don't have the license for Lotus, so there is a very, very slim chance of us ever really seeing them in the game. Whereas things such as, the BMWs and the Celica rally car and such have all come and gone off of the elite car list. So yeah, I definitely feel like that's a topic for a separate video to the wish list. This is mainly for features and the direction of the game, not just kind of cars. So we're going to go over to point number 1, and I'm going to take MLG Pro Swag 69's suggestion. Hilarious name, by the way. He says an event creator that allows us to get the same payouts that we would for, let's say, something like Sardinia, Spa and such. This is a suggestion I've put forward many times, and it just seems to fall on deaf ears, but I feel like it's a very, very good suggestion, because it kind of pulls away the resources of Polyphony having to then make specific events per update, and they can focus on everything else, such as like fixing the lobbies and all that good stuff. Allow us to just create any event we want and make the payout kind of in line with what it would be from a, I guess, a Polyphony created event. This is a very, very good idea. Again, not only frees up the resources from Polyphony to focus elsewhere, but also just allows the game to have a new breath of fresh air, because we know what we're going to get paid. We know if we do a 2-hour event, we're going to get paid in the, sum of over like 2 million or so, and we get to basically just race with any cars we want, not just set cars. There's a lot of events where it's limited to specific countries' cars or specific performance points and such, and it's very, very restrictive. Allowing us to just do our own events and making them in line with what Polyphony's real prices should be would be much, much better. So this is 100% the best suggestion. I have a comment from Andreas now. He basically turns around and says he wants a bit of a garage update. So what he means by this is to be able to select and mark all cars, in terms of your favorites and such, and sort by power to weight ratio. Again, small changes, but they could be a big thing in terms of just, your whole menu quality of life, because sometimes these menus just feel overwhelming. You always feel like you're going the long way around instead of like being able to just do a quick shortcut, and the garage kind of falls under that, as far as I'm concerned. It always feels very cluttered, and whilst there is kind of options to filter stuff about, I definitely think it does need a bit of an interface update and, some quicker ways to just get around everything. Next up is a very simple suggestion, but I feel like, again, it's a very effective one. This is by Alan Roberts. He says Endurance Daily Race D, and I fully agree here. Meanwhile, we've got Daily Race C, that's kind of a little bit endurance, usually around about 20 minutes or so. Having that longer event, maybe 30 minutes to an hour plus, which maybe over an hour would be a little bit too much racing online, would definitely be a great idea. Now, the only downside to this is you do usually get people back out of longer races. I think definitely putting a more harsher penalty for dropping out of an endurance race will kind of make the incentive for the whole grid to finish. This is something I do in custom lobbies with my subscribers and lobby racers quite often, and I honestly feel like the kind of whole way it races and the cleanliness of the race is much better over a longer period of time. People aren't just rushing to get to the front, causing accidents and wiping each other out. So an endurance daily race D will be a massive step up, and it expands your weekly races. This is one I've been after for a long time. JW suggested this one, and it's custom interiors, or the ability to customize your car's interior, and I fully agree. I have many highly tuned road cars where I go into the interior and it's still the bog standard interior, and it's pretty frustrating. I'd love the ability to be able to just maybe even just swap out the wheel, strip the interior, you know, all to kind of go along with the roll cage. For me, something just doesn't feel right about having a fully kind of padded interior and such and not stripped out when I've got a full roll cage in the back and I'm putting out nearly 800 brake horsepower in a Nissan Skyline or something like that. So yes, customizing your interiors, even maybe things such as like your seat colors and such like that, would be fantastic. So I'd love to see this. This is a massive one. It's always been a pet peeve of mine, and it kind of puts me off building road cars into more kind of, you know, non-road machines, because you go inside and it's just, you know, a pretty bog standard interior. Shutter Rank comes up next, and this is one that I think all of us kind of OG players will be massively wanting to see, the GT League return. Now, we saw this in GT Sport. It did come back, and it came back very quickly. I think towards the end of 2017, only a few months after release, we had the GT League in there, and it was expanded on at least a few times. So, you know, seeing this return properly with the proper GT League events will be a massive step up. I think it's common knowledge at this point to Polyphony that nobody really liked the cafe system, and if you're like me, you would have thought that was the game's tutorial. That's how short and quick and over and done with it felt. And yes, it's all good they've added events in since, but those events have been never really that good. Having them more categorized, having stuff like the Red Bull One Make event or endurance races in one of them, will be a massive step up to the cafe system that we've currently got, and I hope Polyphony really do go back on that. Maybe it's just too kind of deeply implemented in terms of the cafe system, but I hope going forward, maybe in terms of GTA or GT Sport 2 or wherever they go next, that they hopefully go back to the original system. It always worked from day one. They've changed it up for GT7. Most people don't like it. Please do not go back that direction again. Let's just get it the way it was and you know, move on forward, because it felt like a much better career mode. Even GT Sport felt like it had a better kind of progress system and, you know, more events than what the cafe menu currently offers. And the final one is ZX. He made a bunch of suggestions, so I've just kind of picked out a few of them. Number one is the ability to test a car before you purchase it. This is a big one. There's a lot of cars in this game. Some are very expensive. I don't want to go and put 10, 20 million out on a car for it to be absolutely terrible. Yes, it's all good collecting them, but to be quite honest, when you spend all of those hours slogging away, getting your money together to then buy a 20 million car and find out it's absolutely terrible and there's nowhere to use it and you'll never have a use for it, is probably one of the worst feelings in this game and makes the grind almost seem not worth it. Another point he makes is that in the garage mode, accelerating the car should give you the car's sound. Now, I don't know if it's just me, especially in terms of like VR and stuff. When I'm looking around the car, I want to be able to start that engine. I want to be able to hear it roar and rumble whilst I'm looking around at it. A lot of games do this when you're in the garage mode and such, and I feel like this would be such a small little change, but again, a big change overall. I believe early on in GT7's life cycle, the cars never actually started up when you clicked on them, and it was added in at a later date. So they can go and do it, and hopefully they will. I know it's such a minor thing, but again, it just kind of adds to the whole character that a car gives you. Now, we're also going to go to another point he makes, and again, this is something that I see around a lot. Now, personally, I don't really play split screen in this game, but I know a lot of people that do. So, split screen fixes. Yes, I fully admit that the split screen in this game is absolutely terrible. It just doesn't work the way it should. It doesn't feel like the old school Gran Turismo split screens. Look, I know it's kind of an older mode at this point. You know, not as many people play split screen these days due to online gaming and such, but still there is a fair chunk of people that actually do, especially, you know, if you've got kids and such and you want to kind of get them into racing. One of the best ways to do so is just, you know, race with them. Playability a split screen, sit down on your couch and just, you know, have a whole heap of fun. And in all honesty, in GT7 it's a complete afterthought. I believe in terms of fixing split screen, that kind of known issues note has been in there for at least 8 or 9 months at this point. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I believe that they've not done a single change to it since launch. So there we have it. Those are some of the best suggestions that I saw in terms of my Discord, my polls, and the comments from the previous video. Thank you so much for putting your suggestions forward. If you do have any for cars you want to see in the future of GT7, put them down below. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that made it into the video in terms of their suggestions. There was absolutely awesome ones just going about. It's, you know, really awesome to kind of get the discussion going and seeing where people want to go and kind of take this game. There's the common theme where I feel like a lot of people do agree that the game really just needs events and more things to do at this point. You know, it really does feel rather quite bare bones in terms of what a Gran Turismo game usually is, especially for a numbered title. I also massively agree with things like the cafe menus and such. It just didn't work this game around. I feel like, yes, it's probably too deeply implemented to be able to kind of, you know, do a full 180 and go to the GT League at this point. But hopefully, you know, in terms of any future releases, they just don't make that mistake again. And at the end of the day, the hopes in this video is to really kind of show Polyphony what we want from this game. Hence why I do my own personal one, and then I go and do a community one to kind of give you a place to have your voices heard and you know, make it known what the community as a large and whole collection really wants. So that's going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from me. I upload GT7 and motorsport content each and every day for your viewing pleasure. If you want to get involved more with the channel and get a discussion going anywhere, I do have my Twitter, my Discord, and my donation links and all that good stuff down below in the description. So if you want to check them out, it is a great place to be. We are massively growing on Discord at the minute, and you can also meet like-minded people. So that's going to be it. I'll see you later on, guys. Peace.